I'm live. Hey, everybody. Chuck Barone, Monday, July the 1st, 2024. I'm really sad because I think I lost everybody for the live stream here. Computer glitch. Couldn't figure out how to get back to the original stream. Had to start a new stream. And in the meantime, I think I lost everybody that was waiting on the old stream. They're probably still wondering why I haven't started it yet because I'm just a friggin' lame ass when it comes to technology. So be it, guys. What can I tell you? Anyway, welcome to the show for whoever's here. Hit me up on the chat, guys. Let me know if anybody's even here to see this today. Um, Again, I apologize for my ineptitude. I have just not the strongest when it comes to technology. And when I get a glitch like that, I end up typically trying to fix it by making it worse. And that's where we were today. Anyway, on with the show. Before I get started, let me take a half a second, welcome everybody to the show. And as always, thank you guys. Okay, great. Only reason I say it is because this is the second time I had to set the show up, and I lost Attila, I lost Salty, I lost a lot of the regulars on the first chat. Anyway, I screwed it up, guys. But anyway, welcome to the show. We're going to rock and roll. And a day that was a very strange day today. Today, there really was not very much news as far as economics. And it's going to be a weird week because we have, the 4th of July falling on a Thursday. The market's going to close early on Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific time. And Friday, even though the markets will be open, for all intents and purposes, they'll be closed because everybody's going to cut out of town on Wednesday, and we'll see. We'll be back on Monday. So it's going to be a weird week. We got some data coming out, of course, everything coming out on Friday, the day that they're trying to, I guess, if there's a day to drop bad news, and I don't really think there will be, but if there's a day to drop bad news, it's on a Friday after the 4th of July, Thursday, and we'll see what comes of that. Anyway, so today's market's kind of a weird day. Not a lot of news as far as data goes. The manufacturing data was disappointing. ISM numbers today, not good. But we've already known manufacturing has been in the crapper pretty much all year. It's contributing virtually nothing to the economy right now. It's in a negative retraction. But that's been happening forever. They want to act like it's interest rates now that's making in manufacturing. No, this has been going on for decades as they move manufacturing overseas, cheaper places, save some money, screw American workers, but improve the bottom line. So the markets today, the stock market up. I guess, tech companies are doing well. So the stock market rallies today. The Dow up 50 points, 39,169. The NASDAQ up 146. 17,879, and the S&P up 14 points today, 5,475. So a decent day for the stock market. It was kind of a weird one. Yeah, sorry about that, Salty. Hopefully we'll get Attila and everybody else back over here too. Jeez. Anyway, markets today rallying up on not great news, because the news we got was manufacturing sucks. Construction spending down, nothing going well in the economy except for consumer spending, which has been slacking off. But the market's rallying, and they're rallying because they want rate cuts. And the data they're getting points more and more to rate cuts. It's going to be really fascinating because the way the data is setting up, it probably will be okay if things continue as they are to having the first cut come in September. But I seriously doubt in the middle of an election, it's going to be as contentious as this one is. We're not even really into the heat of the election yet, and the gloves are already off. Fascinating times, guys. Now, as strong as the stock market was, the bond market, which has been in a 3-year friggin' bear market, just got beat up today, especially the 10-year. 10-year prices fall, yields rise, up 13 basis points, guys, 4.48%. I'm reading analysts talking about possibly by the end of the year seeing 5% on the 10-year, depending on how sticky inflation rates are and what the Fed does. The 2-year, not so bad today, only up 4 basis points, 4.76. So now again, we got the inversion starting to compress a little bit, right? What do we got here? 4.48, so 26, 28 basis points. So now we're narrowing it down. It got down number 14. I was talking to, maybe we can flip it. Didn't work out that time. We'll see how this one's going to work out with the 10-year, with longer term yields rising faster than shorter term yields. The dollar today was down, but down very small, down 5 basis points on the index, 105.80 on the dollar index. Still a decent, strong number. We were above 106. It's been kind of inching down by just a few basis points a day since that point. So the dollar's still strong. But because the dollar was down a little bit today, there was room for gold and silver to be up. Gold rallies up $5.50, $2,332.50. Silver rallies up 32 cents, $29.51. It looks like silver's going to make another run at 30. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, we're going to get over and above the $30 and stay there, much like oil has done with $80. Oil up today again, up another $1.93, $83.47. There's not really anything happening in the world that's saying oil prices should be up. Matter of fact, it looks like oil prices should be going down. So this is just a weird anomaly. It's, of course, the Middle East, tensions in the Middle East. They want to pretend like America's not the biggest oil and gas producer in the world now. It's all about the Middle East still. So that gives oil guys a chance to raise their prices and make a little extra profit. Bitcoin today rallies up as well, up $1,315. Now sitting at $63,255, a good solid number for Bitcoin, rallying back up, bouncing off, got down below 60,000 for a minute there. A nice little rally, bounce back up since then. Okay, let's talk about what we're going to get this week. It's going to be kind of a weird week, guys. So today we got construction spending, and we got the ISM manufacturing index, which I'll talk about in a little bit of detail here in a second. Tomorrow, amazingly, we get ZIP. Nothing, no official data. Although I know we're going to get ADP and we're going to get a couple other not regular government stuff like these are. So we'll see what ADP has to say. Wednesday, we'll get factory orders, which are expected to be up. So was this ISM today. And it actually was up, okay? No, actually it was down today, but not by very much. So we'll see if factory orders, which are expected to be up, come in up. Also on Wednesday, we'll get jobless claims, which are expected to come in at 235,000 this week, which would be higher than last week. So the jobless claims inching up. That'll be important data. And again, remember now, guys, the market is going to close early on Wednesday in advance of the 4th of July weekend. So I'll still probably put the show on at the same time, but it's going to be kind of a weird day. So Thursday, we're all off. Everybody's going to be barbecuing and fireworking, celebrating Independence Day. And then on Friday, we're going to get the big data for the day. We will get our non-farm payrolls, also known as jobs data. They're expecting 195,000 jobs added this month in June. That is down from 272,000 jobs in May. We'll see what May's revisions look like as well. That's going to be the big one, guys. That's at least for this week. Factory order, we already know that manufacturing's stinking. So jobless claims and this job number are going to be the two big data. I got a feeling that the Fed's going to have its way here, and the path is being perfectly paved for them to cut rates. I saw some questions on here about Japan, the yen versus the dollar. The dollar is super strong right now on this index, 105.80. The yen is especially weak because the Japanese central bank refusing to raise rates to defend the yen. They've been talking about raising rates to defend their currency, but they have not done it yet. Of course, they're still talking about it. We'll see. If the Japanese central bank decides to raise rates in Japan, which has basically had economic stagnation forever, So they don't really want to raise rates. There's no call for it other than to protect the yen. We'll see if they do end up raising rates. It would be kind of a surprise. So you might see bounce in the yen, but that's the reason why it's happening right now. Japan, they got internal problems that are pretty severe in Japan, guys. Not only were they once the biggest manufacturer in the world, that's all gone. They're a even worse position than the U.S. is as far as the aging of their population. And Japan is very tough about admitting immigration. They don't admit people into Japan very easily. So you got a situation there where you got an aging workforce, people aging out, retiring, and there's no one really to replace them. Of course, the aging population isn't spending as much money as a younger population would as well. So there you have it. Japan in a very difficult situation. All right, so let's talk about this ISM. This manufacturer index showed it falls down again. It's the third month in a row the number has been down. The index comes in today at 48.5, which is down from 48.7. They were expecting this index to be higher today, okay? Now, the way this index works pretty simple. 50 is the number. Anything above that, manufacturing is expanding. Anything below 50, manufacturing is contracting, which it's been contracting for just a while now, okay? Manufacturing has been in a recession since the Fed started raising rates, and it's sad because the starting point where business was business as usual was so much lower than what it once was in this country. We used to be the manufacturing champions of the world. Now we outsource all that stuff in the name of profit. It's just terrible, terrible policy. And it's this short-term mentality we have where, there's no long-term planning. It's just about quarterly profits. So the manufacturing cycle still in a serious downturn. Now we'll see, because we'll get those factory orders. Maybe if factory orders are up a little bit, maybe that could boost some of these manufacturing, indexes, boost the Michigan survey on their manufacturing side. Maybe we can get a little bit of a bounce here, but guys, until the political class gets serious about manufacturing in this country and they decide that we want to, be a manufacturing country again, then it's just going to stay crappy. John Deere, you saw that, laying off lots of people, and they getting away from their DEI, diversity, whatever, the equity, inclusion, whatever. Guys, the world is turning away, not just the U.S., the entire world turning away from a lot of this progressive stuff. You saw what happened in France over the weekend, their big election. The right, and in France, it's a pretty extreme right. Won a gigantic majority in the parliament. They're going to be taken over France, the parliament in France at least. Macron will still be president, but he'll be a powerless figurehead because opposition will control the entire parliament and the prime minister spot. France has this Marine Le Pen has a pretty extreme agenda for if they do take power, right? And the idea is going to be pretty simple. They don't care if you have citizenship or not. If you're an immigrant, especially a Muslim immigrant, you're out, man. You're toast. France has had real difficulty with their migrant populations that have moved in. You've seen the riots in Paris. You've seen what they've done to France, trying to actually change the culture of France like they're doing here and everywhere else around the world. So France now, the citizens, obviously, by electing a group that's never even come in third place in an election to a big majority, well, that tells you how the population's feeling about this immigration thing. And I think it's going to be the same thing here in the United States. I think before it's all said and done, Trump will flog Biden to death with this immigration thing. Here in the U.S., it's a little bit different than it is in Europe, at least at this point. There's not enough Muslim immigrants to cause the big turmoil they're causing in France. Here they come from all over the world, but they're worried about the jobs they're taking away. They're worried about the violence they bring with them. They're worried about these, them coming here, creating anchor babies, and on it goes with the agenda. Trump promising very much the same as Le Pen, the world's largest deportation effort, where they're going to just get rid of, if you're an illegal immigrant in this country, you better start thinking about what your plan is. Because if Trump wins, and there's a pretty good chance he will, your life is going to change pretty dramatically, pretty quickly. Anyway, I got way off target here, but there just really wasn't a lot to talk about anyway, so it was actually good to have it. But just a couple of quick notes. Central banks still buying gold, guys, so gold's still going to continue to rally. Central banks buying gold by the tons. Last year was the year before. 22 was the record year. 23 just missed the record. 24 shaping up to be another record year for central banks buying gold. Sad news for the U.S. dollar, because that used to be the reserve. Looks like central banks diversifying. Oh my God, did I say the D word? Diversifying or mixing up their reserves. Less dollars, more hard backup gold. So that's an interesting story. Nvidia, you guys have seen this. We wanted to do a little research. So Nvidia went public in 1999. So the company's been around for a while now, 25 years. And when it went public for $12 a share. Okay, now the company's had its ups and downs since then, mostly ups. But here's an interesting thing, guys. If you had bought 10 grand worth of stock in Nvidia in 1999 and just sat on that 10 grand till today, your 10 grand would now be worth $30 million. That is the kind of jump Nvidia has had. I guess this company must really be the bombaroo, man. I don't know enough about them. I guess this whole AI phenomenon, I always figured that somebody's going to come and be competition somewhere. I figured Apple would get their competition sooner or later. They did, but not really, right? I figured Microsoft would get their competition someday. They're just buying up all their competitors. So you have crazy world, but yet 10 grand investment when Nvidia went public would now be worth $30 million. I'm sad to say I did not buy Nvidia when it went public, and I'm sad to say I still don't have Nvidia in my portfolio. Today is Bobby Bonilla Day. Now, I know I'm dating myself here. A lot of you guys, younger especially, won't know who Bobby Bonilla was. At one time, he was an all-star baseball player, great player. And he was one of those guys that was one of the first back then getting these mammoth multi-million dollar contracts. Well, all these teams owed Bobby all this money when he was getting ready to retire. So his agent cut a deal with them where they would defer his pay that he was owed in these big contracts and pay it out over time, right? So today's the day he gets his money. Now listen to this, guys. He gets just under $1.2 million every year from the Mets. Okay, $1.2 million every year from the Mets. He gets $500,000, $500K every year from the Orioles. Okay, so it's like, holy shit, this guy's collecting $1.7 million a year. Now, he retired in 2003. This is 21 years later, still collecting the money. So the Orioles have been paying him $500,000 a year since 2004. And they will pay that money all the way through 2028. The Mets started their payments in 2011. And they will make their $1.2 million payments all the way through 2035. So far, Bobby Bonilla, since he's retired, has collected more than $27 million in contracts. And by the time they're all done paying him out in 2035, he will have collected more than $42 million freaking dollars to not play baseball. Man, these sports guys, and they think they got it tough. They're always complaining they don't make enough. I got to say, though, wouldn't it be nice to be the guy writing Bobby Bonilla those paychecks? It's got to sting every year writing a check for $1.2 million. But how much cash are you making if you can afford to pay a player who's not even playing for you millions of dollars for 25 years? But they're in that. It's a crazy world, guys. Anyway, Monday's over. Sorry about the glitch in the beginning of the stream. I'm a freaking retard. You guys know that with the technology. Sorry to use a politically incorrect word there. But we'll be back tomorrow. It's going to be a quiet day. I'll find some stuff to talk about tomorrow. Maybe we'll take some questions on here. I'm getting better at reading them, especially when the pace of the chat is slow as it's been today. So anyway, that's it for the day. Hit the like button, please. Helps the show. Tomorrow we'll be back at 3 o'clock to bring you guys the news you need. Until then, everybody, have a great day. Thanks.